Good morning, welcome back to the channel. I am actually going to show you guys a couple, or actually quite a few sensory toys that we have, I would say, kind of re-added. So we gave a lot of things away at our last foster placement, and that's very common, especially if you have a foster placement that does reunify with a family member. And in the case of our last foster placement, they did reunify with a family member. The best part about that is they do have shared custody with their mom. And so because the mom and us became really good friends, we're able to visit them, they're able to visit us when the kids are with their mom and on their weekends with her. So that's very exciting. That doesn't always happen in every case. In the other two cases that we had, we were not able to really make a connection with the parent because either it wasn't really an option or one of the parents just didn't have a desire to. So, and that does happen as you guys move through your journey as foster or foster to adopt parents. But I'm going to take you through a little bit of a tour on some of the toys that we have actually purchased pretty much every single time we're getting ready, we're gearing up for a foster placement. Okay, so as I've shown you guys before, there are stores that specialize in education tools. Ours is called the Lakeshore Learning Store. I'm sure there are some in your local area, but there may be stores that are just called something different that just provide a lot of different items that are traditionally for teachers. So if you actually go to a teacher store, you might actually find these. But I love these, so I've already shown them in one video, but this is going to be used for when they use their putty and gels. Now this is called obviously Rainbow Ooze, but a lot of this is like that slime stuff. And let me see if I can kind of pop this open here. All right, yeah, you can kind of feel the sliminess. Now you would probably not guess that this would actually be a positive sensory. Well, actually it is. A lot of kids love playing with this because of the texture and tactile. This provides a different type of stimulation for them. So for kids who are anxious, they're having, you know, kind of a behavioral challenge, or they're just acting out emotionally, this is a really great way of having, you know, something to kind of bring out on the tray and play with, and to just really mold and move things with your hands. Again, this is something actually Sean got, and it's really cute. It's all about space. Now this has a lot more texture to it and it goes all the way down, whereas these right here are different layers. And we actually got this over at Walmart, believe it or not. Very cheap, but very fun, very easy type of entertainment. But you can take this out and play with it and mold it and just kind of feel it in your hands. Just really enjoy squeezing that, which this is really great when you're trying to help a child de-escalate emotionally and you're trying to help them come down off of a very heightened emotional moment. This was something that we've actually had different types of toys, but this is a little bit something different, but you can kind of feel it or hear it really. Now, the only thing I don't like about this particular toy, I love the marbles. I love how it feels. The only thing I really don't like, and I've tried washing this with different soaps, but there's this kind of like stickiness when you touch it. So I'm not really too keen on that, but some kids don't mind it, some do. If they want to play with it, but they don't like the stickiness, we do offer actual medical gloves where they can put it on their hands and be able to play with it. Now, the best part about it, even though it's sticky when you touch it, when you rub your fingers together, I don't feel any residue, any sticky residue, so that's a good thing. The other thing that is a huge popular item in our home is Flarp. And I actually got the 1 pound. This is the most FARP we've ever had in this home. This will definitely require our little trays, so we will definitely be monitoring that. But this is great for when they, let's see if I can kind of open this up, yeah. This is great for when they just want to like pull out, you know, good chunk of slime and just play with it, and it's just so ooey gooey, and oh my gosh, and you can mold it and do whatever you want with it. A lot of kids like it because it's it's actually kind of cool or cold to the touch. It feels kind of watery, a little bit slimy, but the best part is there's no leftover residue, so I like that a lot. So that is definitely a very popular item. Again, these really help when kids just want to play, but they maybe not want to play with some of the toys that we have, but they want to try to have things that they can just be very tactile with. This is something that Sean and our last older foster daughter actually got at a store. I think this was Target or Walmart. There's different sides to it, but you can squeeze it and just do all sorts of things to it, and then it kind of pops right back. But it feels really good just to kind of like hold on to it. Got some more just different little sensory toys that kids can play with. This obviously like stretches, as you can tell. This is fun because there's the little, I like this because this has a different feel for just the whole gambit. You know, you have the little legs here, the little individual balls. So there's a lot of different feelings and sensories that I'm definitely picking up on from this, which I really appreciate. This is kind of fun. You can kind of fling it around, or you can stretch it really far. Actually, a friend of ours has gave this to us. But again, it's just kind of a very flimsy little toy. This, I think we need to probably get a new one because it used to light up. Oh, there we go. All right, yeah, so it'll light up a little bit. But again, this is a nice little squeezy toy, which is really good. So these are our little sensory toys here that we like to focus on. And of course, these are kind of our sensory, our little, like what I call our activity kits that I like to keep. You know, I have like a ball that you can squeeze, but you can also throw. And we're gonna have to be kind of careful with that because Atlas has a tendency of chasing balls, as you can tell. But if they're interested in this, they can bring this out. We have a nice pinwheel. There you go. Let me play with that. This has always been a favorite in our house. This is why I keep these restocked. They are just simple glow-in-the-dark items. We have bracelets, necklaces. I think the last time the girls were here, they took over the wands. But these are fun because these are something they can take with them. We do actually allow this to go in their room because it is glow in the dark. So that definitely provides that comfort. But really, we don't really allow any toys to go upstairs because we try to encourage sleep. So these were some really fun little, let me pull this out here. This was some fun little cheap toys. Again, kind of in the dollar aisle at Target or Walmart, but it helps kind of with gross motor skills. There you go. It's not so great on carpet. We usually try to encourage them to do that there on the floor. But you can just kind of play with these a little bit, or you can just pretend like they're part of your, you know, imagination game, especially when you're playing with toys over there. This is our matching game, which a lot of kids just like pulling out and looking at the pictures and matching with and whatnot, which is always very satisfying, especially if they're trying to, again, kind of decompress and just release a little bit of internal tension. And then here, we've kind of turned this into our activities book section. You can either draw or write. So lots of ways of writing, lots of different coloring. I need to take that actually out. This is like a sticker book. So these are very particular. They have, you know, stickers and different activities with a few crayons here. So this is kind of what we try to provide in our activity center here. Then as we move over here, we have our books. A lot of these books are geared towards children of all ages. you would be very surprised when children are having a rough time, when they need to have a quiet spot, you know, kind of like a little calm down corner like what we have there on the bean bag. I'm even thinking about turning, there's a little corner right over there. I'm kind of thinking about turning into a calm down corner. I'm trying to kind of play around with the space. But we have some kids who just want to either read or just look at the pictures in the book, which really helps relax them. So that's something that we definitely encourage them to do is, you know, pick a spot in the room, even on the couch. Hello, Atlas. They're even welcome to take a book to their room if they want to just have quiet time there. And we really try to focus on their bedroom being there for sleeping, for dressing for the day, or if they would like to have their personal time. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in a moment. These are fun, very cheap flashcards that we got over at Target. I think they were literally like $1 each. They are kind of a wide gambit of things. You know, we have a lot of different sight words, alphabets, phonics, telling time. Let's see what else. A little bit of Spanish. We try to keep the Spanish to a minimum in the house, because if we were to have a Hispanic sibling group that comes into our home, sometimes they'll speak Spanish and they refuse to speak English, and that can cause some problems with their teachers and classes. So we try to provide some comfort, but we also try to help them learn, you know, like especially with phonics and then sight words, try to learn how to sound out and read actual English. So that way it doesn't cause any problems while they're attending school. I know these are not really, the math part is not the fun, it's not one of the fun ones that the kids like, but it is a really nice, very simple way of kind of reviewing our facts. And we have money and division. So these are not necessarily for sensory, but they are kind of a fun little activity to do when we're trying to fill some time, when we're trying to help beat the boredom temper tantrums. And so, you know, I know this isn't technically like a sensory toy that helps relax or provides a tactile stimulation, but this definitely provides a mental stimulation, because when your kids get bored, they get fussy. So you got to figure out how can we make a game out of something that allows us to interact with one another and helps them redirect their anger and upsetment for being bored or not doing something that they necessarily want to do. All right, this is kind of fun actually, because kids love puzzles, and so this is kind of a neat way to learn while you're working on a puzzle together. Again, this is more or less a boredom exercise, you know, to kind of help beat the boredom blues, as I call it. And this really just allows us to further our connection with the kids and our engagement with them. This also just kind of helps them, you know, review some things that they're probably going through in school. I know a lot of these seem very young. One of the things that I will probably repeat quite often, and I do not mean to annoy you for repeating that, but the majority of the kids, most of the kids that come into care have a developmental delay, which means that they are not up to par with where their chronological age is and the grade that they're probably placed in because of their age and or birth date. And so because of that, you want to try to help them engage and learn in a fun, exciting way, but also to try to help kind of catch them up a little bit. This is actually one of our designated stimuli toys. I actually need to unscrew the little pins here so that way it is available, because we just got these. This was one of our original ones here, so I guess I can, since the pin is already out, I can kind of show you. But a lot of the kids love using this. This is a great car item that we actually encourage with some of our very young ones, to kind of help really just bring this into the car and to draw and whatnot, because the best part is it's not very messy. And as we did kind of get to know the kids better, we would encourage them to have their own little crayon boxes and drawing pads, which we would create like a little organizer in the car to keep that, because one of the things that we realized was car rides can be very stressful, and I'll talk to you about that as well. Okay, so just to kind of reiterate with the car rides, that can be very stressful because especially if the kids are old enough to understand, you know, they're being removed from their home place or wherever they were staying. And the car ride can be very stressful because there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of fear associated with it. So what we learned, because car rides became a bit of a trigger for our last placement, because they didn't really understand, you know, what was happening all the time. Even though we would explain, we would talk about it, there was still kind of a fear associated with the car ride. Also, when you're driving to and from visitations with the family members, whether it is with mom and dad, it could be with grandparents or aunts and uncles, the ride home, the ride to the visitation and the ride home from the visitation can be a lot of triggers, can be, it can be very stressful, very emotional. So having things in the car, designated things, and that's something else that we talked about was, you know, these items stay in the car, these are our car items. We even, Sean and I bought designated thermos bottles, and we would refill them every couple of days or so with fresh water. And those thermos bottles were always clean, always ready to go in the car. So whenever they were thirsty, they would have their thermos bottle. And it just really helped with transitions, just a huge, huge amount of transitions. With the flashcards and whatnot, with developmental delays, I think that was the other item that I wanted to kind of go into a little bit. That is really crucial, especially as a foster and adoptive parent. You want to try to see where the child is and meet them where they're at. They may be an 8-year-old, but developmentally, they may not understand more than what a first grader would understand. And behavioral-wise, they may be a little bit younger than that. The thing about trauma to the brain, especially with children, is there's a lot of regression, which means they regress to younger, more immature behaviors or ages that they would have been at a much younger age. So these are things that can complicate situations when trying to engage them, when trying to help them thrive as children. So every day is a new day, and you're wanting to kind of help, you know, them steadily move along. But remember, you're going to have, you know, 2 steps forward, 10 steps back, 5 steps forward, 15 back. And then sometimes you won't have anything that goes back. Sometimes you're just moving forward. I mean, it's a roller coaster ride, and that's part of trying to help a child rehabilitate from a hard place that they're coming from. So I hope this was helpful for you guys today, and thank you so much for joining me. Trying to show you guys how we engage with our kids and how we provide them certain what look like toys, but they're tools, excuse me, but provide them certain tools to help meet certain needs of theirs, such as socially, developmentally, emotionally, and really actually sensory needs. There's a lot of different things that go with kids. And even if you are a parent of your own biological children, perhaps you're not a foster parent or an adoptive parent, you might want to actually try some of these out just to see if this really kind of attunes to your child. All children have different challenges and different ways of handling things. And just because you were able to birth them, they may actually have certain diagnoses like ADHD or ADD or sensory processing disorder. That doesn't mean that that there's something wrong with your child. That means that your child just has specific ways of handling the world, coping with the world, and as a parent, this is your time to really shine with them by providing them different tools or exploring what really works for them and helps them thrive in this life. All right, well, thank you so much again for coming along for this journey. I will see you guys next time. Bye!